welcome to Why the Fuck Not. This is Ed, and to my right I got...
Oh, you got Dwight. Sorry, it threw me off there.
Yeah, right, left. Sorry, person across from me. We were across before. And then to my left I got...
Aaron.
So we got the same thing, same show as last time sort of deal. We got three friends sitting around one table, going to discuss some topics that might be just for your amusement. We all kind of do something random. It doesn't necessarily have any pattern towards it. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But either way, we're going to get this kicked off right away with Dwight. And Dwight, what did you bring to the table?
Ooh, I'll start it off, yeah. Today I want to talk about the importance of instilling fear in someone's life. So I was watching I know it's kind of a weird topic. So I was actually watching a TED Talk not too long ago, and I just want to find his name again, so I'm 100% sure of it. His name was Joel Runyon, if anyone ever wants to look it up. Joel Runyon,
that sounds familiar.
And he went on a TED Talk, and he talked about how a cold shower every single day for 30 days had changed his life. Like, he kind of claimed to go from nothing to something, and the big thing was taking a cold shower every single morning. And I thought it was super fascinating. Like, it's an interesting to think, right, that you can wake up in the morning. So I've heard of benefits of cold showers, like, if you wake up and have a cold shower, you get the, like, kind of, it's like a caffeine rush, or you get an alertness. It helps with, like,
it will wake you up good, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be a better way to have a shower. It's supposed to be a cold shower. It helps with your oxygen intake, because you get that kind of, like...
Tell that to my dick.
Cold. Yeah, exactly. If he doesn't like it, totally.
People do it after, like, exercise.
Exercise.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, yeah, it'd be good for your muscle repair, right?
And then there's also heat that they use, too, because your body releases, like, heat shock proteins or something. Mm-hmm. So, listen to Joe Rogan. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, he's much better off than I am, but...
Me too, all of us. But I thought it was a really cool idea anyways. Like, the premise of it all was kind of that... like, a lot of people live their days doing the exact same thing every single day. Like, they're going to be the same person tomorrow as they are today, and it's because their patterns are exactly the same. So, like, you, for example, like, you drive the exact same way to work, I'm sure, every single day.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like a routine at this point. It's a
routine,
yeah.
Right? Like, you put yourself in this routine, and I'm sure that, like, if I asked you, like, what was the house on, what's on this third street down the road, what was the second house to your left, what is it?
Oh, yeah, I would know that for
sure.
You
wouldn't know it, but you pass it every single day.
And no way I'd have that.
There's no way. It's because you probably look at the exact same things when you're driving, and you're probably looking
at
the
fucking mundane, right? It's the same
shit.
Yeah,
you ever go, like, you ever drive, and then you're just like, what the... Like, you get to the destination, and you're like, I do not remember even fucking driving.
I have. That happened to me this morning, actually.
Like, how did I get here?
I got all the way down Jubilee. No fucking clue how what happened out there. I was like, I hope I didn't speed or go through any red lights.
That's exactly.
Why is there blood on my car?
But everyone does it, right? Like, it happens, right? Like, it's because you just get in this, like you said, mundane, routine, and you're setting yourself up basically for the exact same day, right? Like, you're starting your morning exactly the same. You're driving to work. You're not realizing what you're doing. You're not looking at your environment around you, and then you're going to work. So to be a different person, and then you're starting your day like that is kind of, I mean, it's not as likely, right? So I remember on the last podcast we were talking about how, like, kind of this close to this topic, right? But it was like talking about how, like, going out of your comfort zone.
Oh yeah, we definitely touched base on that.
Yeah, so it's like it's with this cold shower thing. His idea was that, like, if you can withstand a cold shower in the morning, if that's like your hardest part of your day, like when I was talking about the gym,
doing your last reps, yeah.
If it was like, if you get in there and if you can't withstand like a 45-second cold shower, then, like, how could you go about pitching a Fortune 5 company deal, right? Like, you just, like, if you can't do something as simple as putting yourself through much, and this can be debated. I know you guys both...
No, I'm listening to it. I'm listening. No, it sounds... Yeah, okay, keep going.
So, but if you don't put yourself in a position where you're going to, like, go through some kind of hardship, right, in the morning, or you're going to change your day, right? Like, if you're going to do something unorthodox with your day, you're just going to be the exact same person you are. This is what I'm kind of getting at, is you're going to be the exact same person tomorrow as you're going to be today if you're doing exactly the same things. If there's no fear in your life, if you're comfortable, right, then comfortability is a bad thing. Like, if you're comfortable all the time with what you're doing and how you're acting,
comfortable is definitely a bad thing.
It's a terrible thing.
It gets you into ruts. Like, you're always and you get miserable about it. It's like it becomes so automatic and that you're not doing anything interesting anymore.
And you can't expect to change, right? Because as soon as some kind of change comes, right? Like, as soon as you go outside of your box or you're doing some kind of change, that's when you get scared, right? Like, if you were to do something you've never done before, like, for example, like, if I told Aaron, like, to go on a snowboard, right? Like, go snowboard in the mountains or something, right? Like, if I told you to do something way different that you've never done before, there's no way that drive up the mountain or up the ski lift, you wouldn't be terrified. You would be, right?
Yeah, you get that guts,
anticipation.
That
Yeah.
yeah,
the bubble
and-
gut, that feeling. You know?
Yeah, where you're
Yeah.
just you're tense, you get all sweaty, you're not prepared for what's coming, right? Like you don't know how to react to it, you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what to expect. That is the best thing that's going to ever happen to any. Like if I rarely, and I don't want to say, I've traveled a lot and I've done a lot of things. I've bungee jumped and skydived, and like I look for those things now, right? I look
Almost
for
an
the point
adrenaline
where it's-
junkie, or not quite.
I wouldn't say I'm gonna like I won't constantly go look out for like an adrenaline high. Like I don't need a high, but I like
So
to
you don't need it. You just want it.
I don't need a high. I just want it. That's probably a better way to put it. And like I think it's good for me, right? Like because there's very few things now that like I won't like if a random event comes up or if a random thing like I'm usually prepared. It prepares me for life. Like if anything comes up in my day, I'm prepared for it, right? Like I'm not going to be scared of what's to come. I'm not going to be scared to write a business proposal. I'm not going to be scared to be doing a new podcast because I know that this thing that I did this morning, maybe it's a cold shower, was going to be a lot harder withstanding a 45-second cold shower than it's going to be sitting down with you guys now and talking about, random topics that I don't know about.
Oh,
right?
I absolutely get that. My like just a small question, like in correlation to being like the cold shower thing. How does that relate in the cold shower aspect? Is that getting into that shower?
So this is
it's just getting you out
yeah.
of
There's
routine?
it's no like it's being super uncomfortable is what his whole premise was. It
But
wasn't like
where does that shower become routine again though?
you step into a freezing cold shower and see if that'll ever become routine.
Well,
it
I
probably
mean,
won't. I mean,
it would be
but maybe
relatively
it will.
so, but you get used to everything
You're
eventually, right?
You're right. And so
So
I
do we
guess his
pick
thing was
something
30
else?
days. So he had a time frame on it.
Oh, so he stopped after 30?
It was like a 30-day thing.
Okay,
It
all
was
right.
like
yeah, that's
30 days,
fair.
and 30 days. We're talking about 30 days roughly to develop a habit, right?
Habit,
so
yeah.
maybe that's what it is. Maybe 30 days is like kind of the magical number, and then maybe he started to get used to it or whatever.
Change
maybe
it up, try something else.
Change
Yeah,
it
do
up,
something
try
else
something
to
else.
keep you on your toes all the time.
Run into
Totally.
the traffic. See.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought, I was just as skeptical as you. When I watched it, he was super passionate when he was talking about it, and he was like clearly doing super well for himself now. And his whole thing was that like this was a huge transition for him, was doing this 30-day cold shower challenge. And I thought it was ridiculous when I first heard it. I was like, because I think about like 6 a.m. in the morning in Winnipeg,
Whipping
when
it in
it's
cold, like
whipping into a cold shower, then going out to an ice cold car. Like it sucks, right? To
you
even
make the
think
ice
about
cold
it,
card
right?
not seem nearly as bad. At least at
we
the very
pretty
least.
much already do that.
But his thing, and this is where it kind of gets
scrape
interesting,
the
was
car.
so
Yeah.
I did it too. Like I was like, I'm going to try this challenge, and I did it for
You-
30 days.
You've done this for 30 days.
I've done this for 30 days.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I did it. I was
Is
like,
that why you have a mustache?
That's why it grows as fast as it does, I'm sure.
I'm changed. I'm a new man.
Yeah, exactly. So I did it for 30 days, and like what I thought was the biggest noticeable thing was when the first couple days, and it was like you don't go like warm to cold, like it's like you're in a cold, like you set it to cold, you jump in this fucking shitty shower, and it sucks, like it's terrible. But a lot of the things you say in the morning, you'll notice, like when I was in the shower, I'd be like, oh god, I hate this, and now I got a long drive ahead of me, and it's gonna be super cold outside, and I noticed that I would start bitching about my day. Like I would let all my shit would come out first
In
thing
the
in the
cold
morning.
shower?
In the cold shower.
Okay.
Like I would start whining about it because it was like something shitty was
So
happening
you're
to
not
me.
comfortable. You're
So
not
I wasn't
having
comfortable.
warm, hot shower.
Exactly. It was like I wasn't in the comfort.
You're
It
not
was
getting
like-
mom's hug at that point.
I
Right?
started whining about everything. It wasn't just the shower anymore. Like it wasn't just the shower is super cold. It was now I got to go out to my car and it's gonna be cold. Oh, my day at work. I know I got to go do this, and this today. Oh, and this person I got to talk to them today. And I started like bitching about my day. Like I started everything, all these negative, and I found that like all I was thinking about was negative things first thing in the morning. That's what I was bitching about. Was like all this negative crap.
So it's
in the
almost
morning.
like a therapy session in the shower.
As weird as it sounds,
I have
that's what
one of
happened to
those.
me.
Yeah,
right? It
well,
was-
you
I have
have
one of
different
those.
therapies in the shower.
I don't want to know your therapy.
Something with conditioner. I don't even know.
But this goes into a lot what we were talking about last time, where you said start your day with something hard, get the
Yes,
hardest thing out of
exactly.
your
That happens
day.
to me every day too. So like that hardness. I'm not talking sexually here. Like it just like I have a bad
You
back.
gripped your
right?
hand like you were grabbing a meter there.
I'm good.
Hardness.
I'm good. It's an
I wake
exercise
up
on its own.
hard, too, sometimes.
But like I have a bad back, so getting out of bed sometimes is like it's painful. It's hard. So like getting myself going sometimes is like a really hard thing to do. Getting into something like a cold shower, I could see like almost getting that out of me.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna get that like hard, almost painful
You're gonna
starting
hate
my
it.
morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fucking.
And
No, I'm
would
not
hate
going
it.
to sit there being like, "Oh, thank you, Dwight."
I really think it's cool, but like honestly, and you're gonna be, and you got to remember that like your thoughts are so, and going back to even the meditation talk we talked about last time, is like your thoughts are so important, right? Like your thoughts. Like, if you wanted to ever know who someone was, like, we're sitting in your apartment, I can look at the books that you're reading. Like, if I looked at your books on the bookshelf, I would know what kind of person you were, based on what you're reading, right?
I buy
So
them
a lot
so
of the
people
time.
will do that.
Those are all video games.
There's a lot of video games.
Those are the books. The
I'm
two
looking at the
shelves
wrong
over there.
shelf.
Maybe a bookshelf.
Okay, that still makes
Okay,
sense.
I'm looking at your book. Is what I'm.
Or one book. But, like, it's really, like, your thoughts are really going to determine who you are, right? Like, it's not like, so my thoughts are going to turn into what I say, right? So when I read something, I'm going to start talking about it. If I start talking about it, I'm going to start acting on it. So your thoughts really, it's like the starting chain reaction to an action, right? So it's a first process. So if you're starting your day, or you're reading, or just shit, right? Like if you're watching the news, for example, maybe, or like, and you're hearing all this crappy. Like, have you ever read the news? Have you ever been like committed to a newspaper?
I'm not gonna lie.
man.
Me and my
That's all I
wife,
do.
me and my wife stopped reading news because it's so fucking
negative,
depressing. It's
right?
never
It's
positive
negative.
things.
I'm pretty
I think
sure-
I presented to you a long time ago doing a positive newscast. At one point, a
Yes.
few months back, I was like, nobody does it.
No one does it.
You know why? Is because they never fucking succeed.
But
Nobody wants to
no
hear
one
it.
wants to hear it. People want to hear shitty. Yeah,
I'm the opposite,
shit, right?
I
So they can relate.
love all the shit that's going on. It's just like I'd love hearing. I'm
Controversies,
obsessed with the news. Anytime anything
But the
something
thing with-
happens, it goes right to my phone. I know,
You know
who just
about
got
it.
shot. There was a big shooting today.
You love
Actually,
that stuff.
I think there was a shooting in a nightclub today.
Another nightclub shooting.
But
Yeah.
you think that like builds up on you all the time, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it's
definitely.
easy to get depressed. It's easy to get like it's seriously.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Cutting
easy
that
to,
out of
like-
my life made it less depressing for me to do my
Totally.
day to day
Until
stuff.
I met
just,
John.
and then now I get it all from you.
Shove it in
Ah, I
your face
still like
every
hearing
day.
it,
Yeah, but
But-
like I mean, cutting it out of my life really made a big difference on how I feel, like on the inside, just in general.
Yeah.
It's not that I was like depressed because of it, but them being there definitely gave me a depressing feeling, and it wasn't like the sole reason, but it made me look at other things differently, which made me depressed. You know,
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, it wasn't that necessarily that thing, but that thing made me look at something differently, for sure.
It's like I guess a good analogy would be like it's like a factory, right? Like your brain's like a factory, okay? And if you're putting in a bunch of junk in it, right? If you're listening to like people dying all the time and then you try to like listen and read all this like negativity and then go out and try to be a positive person, I think it's unrealistic. I think it's like you're just going to share with what like so if I read the news in the morning, like okay, if I read about a bombing or a shooting, like chances are I'm going to talk about this bombing and shooting with someone else, right? And so now there's
Becomes a
more
chain.
time in my day where I'm talking about like this like there's way more good things that happen than bad, I'm sure, right?
You
Like
just
we
don't
just
hear
hear
them.
about it.
Yeah.
We just hear like I mean we're in a time right now where there's less murders, there's less than there ever was in history. We're the safest generation there's ever been.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
but we
true.
hear more about it now than we ever have, just because we have the accessibility to
Well,
the
yeah.
information.
If you
right?
flip back to the '90s, we didn't have a Facebook, we didn't have a Twitter, we didn't have a Tumblr telling us all these different things that are happening. We had our Winnipeg
Yeah.
Sun, which only posted sports stuff,
And
and
your
then we had the
neighbors.
Free Press and your neighbors.
talk shit about the one crazy person down your street.
Yeah.
Everyone likes
Yeah.
to say it though, like we're all walking around just like heads down in our cell phones, and like you look back at the night, like whenever people were still doing that, they were just reading newspapers. No one talked to each other.
Now let's take it before the newspapers.
What was the thing that happened?
Fucking
Yeah, talk.
carrier horses. I don't know, parcels. They're reading letter mail,
Something.
whatever they do.
Pretty sure
People.
bottle and a fucking water, you're good. Fucking
Yeah.
throw a message in there, you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, random thought.
No, it's-
There's a guy in fucking the East Coast that threw out 450 different messages in a bottle. I think he got 260 responses out of 480 that he put out.
What?
That's crazy. I'm sorry.
How do you
It's fucking
respond?
crazy. I don't know. People, he puts
throw
his.
other
He threw it in the right
messages?
place. Like
He
was
just-
in-
he
was
throws
in,
it at-
like the boat or something.
No, he's on the shore. He chucks it in the shore and he just leaves
And the
it.
tide didn't bring this one right back.
No,
in.
it
It was
didn't.
like a guy a kilometer
Did
away.
he just
that was
fuck up?
like-
Did he just fuck with like 200 people and be like, "Help! I'm trapped.
Somebody fucking. I just need response.
There's 200 of us."
But
Yeah,
no,
where were
he,
these
he
response
was
come from?
he was doing easy, like just friendly gestures, being like, "Hey, blah blah blah," respond back to me. This is my address. And I believe, he got an over 50% rate
Wow.
of people writing back to him from
That's
all
really
over the
cool.
world too. It wasn't just like I think it was Prince Edward Island is where it was happening. And he got some from Prince Edward
I think
Island,
I
but he
remember
got some
hearing about
from
this, actually.
England. He got
I
some
think I
from
remember
like
hearing
down
about
in
this,
on the West Coast in the States. Like he gets them from everywhere.
Crazy.
Sorry, that's super random thought. It breaks
No,
away from
that's
what we're
super
talking
cool,
about.
though. It's
Yeah.
cool to think.
Talking
anyways.
about positive things and how messages can get conveyed
If we
around.
want to keep carrying on with this, how about a letter? Like, how often people write letters nowadays? And if you do get a letter, how great do you feel about
Fucking
that letter?
amazing!
Like,
It's so like something that isn't a bill in the mail
Oh
is
my god!
fantastic.
If you
Remember-
remember like a handwritten letter?
What I think about all the time is like, remember we used to get letters and we were just threw it out. We got an email.
Yeah.
We were so excited.
Yes,
Now we get
yes.
emails and we're just like fuck the
Believe
emails.
me.
We get a letter.
Yes,
We're
I
like,
want a bigger
That's
penis.
exactly it, man. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, sorry, I'll stop.
Someone
sending
took
you
the
this.
time out. Someone took the time out to write the letter, right? Like they've like spent their time where it's like in a world where we think there's like no time to do anything. Someone spent their time.
I think one of my
think
favorite
about
things
you,
to get
right?
in the
Like-
mail is like wedding invitations or something because they're always so personable and like
Mm-hmm.
and usually very handwritten for the most part. You know, not everybody does them, but I think for the most part they are. You know, like I hate
Super
getting
cool.
email stuff like that. It just
No,
I'm more or less likely to read my email about that thing than I am to get it in the mail and look
Totally.
at it.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah,
Anything-
that's how I feel about that. Like seriously, handwritten mails are 1,000 times better.
They're
1,000
so
times
much better. You
Yeah.
just feel like someone's like put some thought into you.
Yeah, somebody
Right?
gave a
Like,
shit to fucking
someone
write
gave
on a
a
piece of
shit.
paper.
Yeah,
Like,
not
you-
just like this like copy and paste email or something that they
Just-
sent out to everyone else.
We're just gonna be for the next month getting letters from Aaron. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you too.
I would still look
You
forward
said
to
it
that
was
letter.
I'll take it. It's handwritten.
Yeah.
He tried.
He took his time.
I'll have a nice wax seal on it.
Oh god, that's awesome too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
His brand. Oh.
So bringing it back into the cold shower and then like
Yes.
knocking yourself off of your train path to try and get more positivity out of your life.
Yes.
So how did you your
Yes.
experience?
So at first it was like, and it was like I was saying before, it was like I would talk a lot about, like I would out loud, like I would say like, oh, like what I'd say, I complain about my day. It would be like, oh, this shit's happening, this crappy thing's happening. And by like day 15, it was like, so I can catch myself saying it, right? Like I catch it saying it, and I go in my kitchen and I write down what I was saying. So it was like this shitty thing I was saying, this shitty thing I was saying. I'd come revisit it at the end of the day, and it was like, well, this wasn't so bad, right? This wasn't so bad, but it affected my day that I said it. So, like, everything I wrote down happened, right? Like, if I was like, oh,
You
it was
were
like
right,
a shitty
right.
cold drive, yeah, it was, sure enough, it was fucking shitty and cold outside, right? Like, it just, whatever it was happening. But if I would have, like, so then by, like, day, like, 17 and 18, when I was kind of, like, not getting, like you said, more comfortable to showers because it's not, like, fun, but you know you're going into this cold shower. It was like, it was no longer, like, I'm
A system
terrified
shock.
when I woke up.
Yeah.
It was like, I accepted this is what was happening, right? And it was like, if this was, and it always was the worst part of my day, hands down. Like, if you wake up first thing in the morning, you jump, that's gonna be the shittiest part of your day, unless someone comes and shanks you. That's the worst part of your fucking
In
day.
the cold shower.
In the cold, right in the shower, right? Like
God,
kidney
the
shot,
worst.
bam! Like, son of a bitch!
So I would write this stuff down, and I would address it like the following day. So I'd be like, hey, today I'm not going to talk about how crappy the weather is. Today I'm not going to talk about how shitty this day is going to be. And by the end of it, it was like I had nothing negative to say anymore. It was like in the morning, I'd wake up on like the last day. I woke up, had myself a cold shower. It was like one of the best days I've ever had. I had no complaints when I was in the morning, and I went about my day and I just took it on in a positive manner. There was
That's great.
there was no like, you know, like this is shitty is going to happen today. It was like I went into it just being like, it's going to be a great day, and this is going to be the worst part of it, and I have it under lock now. Like this is going to be I've done it 29 times. This is going to be no problem today, and the rest of my day is going to be super easy.
Nice.
And so I got this, like, I mean, we talked about meditation and stuff before, right? But it was like I started this positive train of thought that really ultimately led to like positive days and good. And then from there it was like, you know, I got offered a bigger gym when I was managing a gym, and I got like all these great things started happening to me, and it was because I was bitching less about myself and what was going to happen that day, and started focusing more about all the good things that happened because I'm not in this fucking cold shower.
You basically got a chain reaction from.
I got a chain reaction, and it started with a thought process. It was just able to extract my thoughts out of me, and me realizing that I was really negative in the morning, and I was really negative thoughts about what I predetermined my day before I even
You already
stepped into
decided it was going to
I've
be
already
shit.
decided it's a shitty day. It's like when someone wakes up in the morning, you're like, wake up and you like stub your toe, and you're like, oh, it's going to be one of those days. Well, it's going to be one of
Yeah.
those days because you just said it was going to be one of those days. Like
That's what makes it that
that's
day.
what makes it that day. It's not because you stubbed your toe, right? It's like accidents happen.
That kind of goes
Right?
into the...
Just kick the cat and keep going on your way. Like,
yeah. That goes into the law of attraction.
Yeah,
like,
sure, yeah.
which is a pretty legit thing. But then the reason most people know about it is that book, The Secret,
Secret,
which
yeah.
is just total bullshit. And they just try to spin it and everything.
They put it into a book almost, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and
that
they're
was
like,
the-
"Hey, you have to buy our secret."
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they turned something that was really kind of a pretty simple premise, you'd think, for the most part. And, have you read that book?
Okay, I was just about to say,
I actually
I
read
have
it.
never read The Secret.
I've
I know
seen-
nothing
I-
about
I
it.
own it,
Somebody
actually.
please
I've
explain
seen
this
the
to me.
documentaries about it.
Oh, you've seen this? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Somebody explain this. What are we talking about?
Do
with
good
this? I
things,
know it's
good things will happen.
it's like
oh karma.
Yeah,
Wait,
karma is
basically
basically the
karma.
there's karma, and
But
then
you
there's
have to buy it from me because I'm a special person who has mastered
well,
it.
the book itself, like the book, the Secret was like it was basically a bunch of testimonials, like from all these like famous people who like believed in The Secret and said it changed their life. And The Secret is basically karma, right? It's like if I was looking for a girlfriend, for example, right? Like if I'm at a bar and I'm a bar star and I'm going there every week, I can't expect to find, like, the chances are I'm going to find a girl who's doing the exact same thing, right? Because I'm going to be attracted to something that.
well, that's why the meat
they're
markets
doing,
never
right?
work, right? Like, because it's always two people. Like, you always come across these type of like looking for that quick fix in the life that's going to get it going. But like the center of attraction in this book, like I've heard from so many fucking people in my life, like I need to check this thing out, and I can't bring
The
my
premise is really good.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's a great, and I believe in karma. Like, I
My
believe
problem
that.
with it
Yeah.
is people put too much hope on it. They're like, "Oh, I just have to think that I'm going to get this Lamborghini, and then one day I'll have a Lamborghini." Like, they say that in the book, and it's like, no,
It's not how
It's
it
not-
works.
you
yeah.
have to work.
You got to visual.
Yeah,
I think
it's not-
what it's going for is like the visualization of it, right? Like almost like setting goals.
Yeah, like
I'm not trying to say that's what they're saying in the book, but like there's hundreds of examples.
I know what
of
you're
people
saying.
doing that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. They think it's a quick fix. When,
Yeah,
like
it's
I
not.
had a life coach recently, actually, a couple months ago, and she got me to do a dream board. And I always thought like dream boards were kind of like, but that's kind of like ties into the law of attraction, right? It's like you're setting out goals for yourself, or you're like, so there's a vision board and dream boards. They're two different things, right? A dream board is like your goals that you want to attain. You'll cut out pictures from magazines. You'll put it on your wall, and it's like the idea is like you stare at it for like a minute and a half every single day. And those, because you're thinking, like your thought process is like, it's like throwing a grapple hook into the universe and bringing in like the thoughts of, like, if I thought every single day that I was going to have a Lamborghini, right? Like I would figure out a way to
You're
get
gonna
a
make yourself
Lamborghini,
there,
right?
yeah.
Like, so that the dream board is just like you visualizing your goals in ahead of time, right?
They
Yeah.
have the same philosophy in Buddhism. I don't remember what it's called, but they have a little ritual thing that you're supposed to set up with people you admire or things you want to
Here,
accomplish.
I've got something very relative to very recent, actually. When you guys left for a trip, you and your others went off to a trip to Banff for a week, and I was at work. And normally I don't necessarily week to week make a goal for myself within the work. But I'm like, okay, these people are gone for a week. Gives me a chance to get some stuff that I like, kind of clean house sort of deal. Like get some stuff I want to get done. So my first thing was, I'm going to make this list, and I'm going to make it perfect. So I made sure I got that done.
Nice. Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, this cooler really needs a good cleaning, so I'm going to get this done. So I got that done. Next, I'm going to get some interviews set up. And I know this is all relative to my work, but I did these 3 lists. Like, these are the 3 things that have to get done this week, and I just kept telling myself that every day. By Wednesday,
That's
I already
awesome.
had 2 of those fucking things done.
That's awesome.
And then by the end of the week, it was all done.
Because you wrote it down.
That's exactly what I wrote.
And you
everything
thought
down.
about how important it was
you
to do
set
this.
a goal
Super
that
important.
you could
Goal.
accomplish, and then you accomplish
But
it.
I
Exactly.
don't do that often, right? And I think I'm going to adapt this more into my life, not based on any of this conversation necessarily, but this conversation is definitely like almost like surreal to me because I experienced this in my past week.
Yeah.
Where I was like, fuck, like I did this to myself this week. I said, I'm going to do this, and this. And I fucking did it. Nothing got put off till the next week. Nothing got put off till later. Like, I can get this a little... I fucking...
And how good did you feel when you showed me that cooler?
It felt great.
For example, and it looked amazing.
Yeah, thank
and
you,
I was
thank
so
you.
happy, and I was awesome. So
Yeah.
I bragged about it forever, but like, how good did you feel? The sense that you accomplished what you had
it
set
was
out
great.
for, right?
It was great showing you, but honestly, my best sense of accomplishment, my best sense of like feeling on that was like 5 minutes after it was done. I felt on top of the world for like a good 4 or 5 hours of my day. Like the rest of my
Awesome.
shift, I felt so fucking good. I was
Awesome.
pumped. I felt like I was pumping other people up because I
That's
felt
awesome.
that way.
Yeah.
And I think it grew me as a leader because at my work I'm kind of the leader in my area. So it grew me as a leader by doing that. So I don't think being the leader is not necessarily delegation, more so than it is you doing something, getting yourself pumped up to get the people around you pumped up.
That's right. 100%. You're the influencer. Yeah.
Until I throw my coup and we put you on a boat and say,
oh,
we're working on it.
Sweet.
If
I'll take a
anyone's
boat.
going to start a coup in the area.
But I honestly, I felt that, and I see this very relative to what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right
that's
here.
exactly it. Yeah, it's so the law, like going back to kind of like the law of attraction. It was like so I'm gonna go back to like the dream board, vision board thing.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
the
yeah.
dream board, it was like, so I wrote down all these. I did these pictures, cut out the pictures, and then she did a vision board with me where it's like she did a meditation with me, which I mean, she was speaking in the background and she kind of told me where I needed to go with my thoughts and whatever. So it was fine, it was whatever. But then she sat me in the room by myself and like let me have an hour to make my vision board. And she said, like, the pictures that you're taking from the vision board, I don't want you to take anything like because it looks like a dog or like so your vision board looks cool. Just like whatever picture or whatever sentence or whatever word jumps out at you, like cut it out and then end up putting it on the board, and then we'll discuss the board afterwards. And it was funny because like I did this board, a vision board. This is about 6 months ago. I did this vision board, and then and then when I had it all completed, like slowly these things, like I was on a picture of a mountain. I cut out a mountain, and like I had no plans on going to Banff, or I had no plans on going
That was
anywhere.
a surprise trip for you.
It was a surprise trip for me, and then I ended up going to Banff. And then there was a like, I can't go into all of it, I guess, but there was
There's
pictures,
some private stuff that you just
there
don't
was
want
pictures cut out on this board, and all of them start coming to fruition. Like all of them start becoming my reality, and it's because I committed myself to, like, I think sitting there looking at the board, realizing this is like something that I thought about and that I really want, and these things started to attract themselves in my life, right? And I totally believe in it. It's like setting a goal. There was a visual goal for me, but it's goal setting and doing things like that are they're so important in your life. Like, it's like a must, right? And a lot of people don't do it. So going back to the cold shower thing, it was like, for me, it was a way to extract all my negative thoughts out and going, and then, making my day more positive and realizing that the world and my day isn't as bad as I think it is. And there's an easier way to go about it. Right?
So I have a question on the cold shower, very specifically. You did your 30 days of the cold shower. You noticed a big difference by that 30th day, right?
It sounds so weird, but yeah, I did. Yeah.
So, day one of not having the cold shower, what happened for the next 30 days?
Good question. Yeah, no, it was, like I said, in the very kind of like the last day, it was like I found myself bitching less, right? It was a less thing. But of course you go back into some patterns, right? But I would do different things within my day. So after the cold showers, then I started taking different routes to work. Like, I wanted to change up my day. I didn't want to do the same thing, monotonous thing every single day. Like, I thought that was like, I think, and I still believe that's people's biggest downfall, is like, they want to be a different person all the time. They want to be a better person, but they do the exact same thing. They think the exact same thoughts. So, like, whatever it is you're trying to do, or wherever you want to start your day, like, starting your day is so important, whether it be the gym, whether it be meditating, whether it be yoga, whether it be making having a cold shower, whatever it is, like, make that your toughest part of your day, and see what you're saying to yourself. See what shitty thoughts you have see what you're thinking. And if it's shitty thoughts and it's negative thoughts, then there's something to be worked on there, right? Like, everyone can have self-improvement. There's no doubt about that. Right. But this is a good way to, like, get yourself out of your comfort zone and go about your day and in a different fashion if you want to be a different person, if you want to be a better person, So for me, and then when I started doing the bungee jumping, the skydiving, and all that stuff, it was like I started finding fear again. It was from the showers, and then it was, I traveled Europe by myself, and I traveled Thailand by myself, and I did all these things by myself because it was, it was my own self-discovery, I almost thought, in a weird... I was scared of it. I was terrified, like anyone else would be, right? Like, it's like you're going to Thailand, you don't know anyone. I just bought a plane ticket, and I was like, I'm gonna go. I don't care. I have time off. I'm gonna go. I'm not prepared for it, but I'm gonna do it. And it was the best thing that happened to me. And if you guys would have known me even 10 years ago, I was a completely different person than I am today. And I think it's because of a lot of this.
I can't imagine this being an overnight success. It takes some time. Everything, the attitude. Like, I think a lot of people can gain a lot off of the way that your outlook on your own personal life. Yeah. Like, I think it's a very, like, good thing. Like, I'm personally, like, I've noticed in my own life more positive things around me just because you're part of it in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You shouldn't be thanking me.
Yeah,
I've noticed, like, small things, not huge, because I haven't really, like, embraced a lot of the things that you like, a lot of your ideals and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah,
but I have noticed some things. Like, I feel more positive in my everyday thing, And that's just from hearing you talk every day, day to day. You know, like we just started doing this podcast, but we've known each other for a good year-ish or
Year
so.
and a half or so.
We really started talking maybe in the past 4 or 6 months or so. And I've noticed in that 4 or 6 months a big difference in things that have like just in general, and
That's awesome.
like things that used to make me angry don't make me nearly as angry anymore.
Yeah.
I say yes a lot more is one thing that I've been doing. Like
Awesome.
I don't say no nearly as often, and then that's another thing that I've noticed in my life. Saying yes, like it doesn't matter what it is, just being like yes, and you do it. That changes a lot of things too. Like just. Don't say yes to everything, but like try taking a month saying yes to everything.
Yeah. Like, why do you say no a lot of the time?
Because
you're
scared of or being
of the
comfortable of
consequences
being
of
in
yes.
this one thing.
Yeah.
You know, like yes, like for instance, my closer who's sitting right next to me, like he's one of our nighttime shifts. He took a week off, and instead of finding somebody to take his shifts for him, I've been a daytime cook for 7 years. I just said, fuck it, I'm going to do the nights. And that felt great.
And it was different, right?
It
It was
felt
something
good.
different in your life, which
It was nice.
awesome.
I don't
right?
want to do that all the time, but it was nice to be able to
yeah.
do that. And I know that if I can battle that at another point if it ever comes across.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know I would have done that if I didn't know you 6
Yeah,
months ago.
awesome.
Yeah.
So then I'm doing what I want to do. Then that's exactly, and having conversations like this and talking to people about pushing themselves out of their comfort zone, and I think that's what all I want to be out of a person, right? Is make something. That's a lot of like, right? You want to make other people better around you, right? Like you want to know that you're doing something for other people, right?
Well,
And then I think one of the big things that a lot of people don't realize is for you to help somebody, you need to be helped. You need to be
the best version of yourself,
yeah,
right?
you
Or try
can't-
to be, right?
Yeah, you can't. Everybody needs help, and once you've gotten the help, then you're in a position to help somebody else.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You got to fix yourself before you fix anybody else, and that's
That's
big
100% right.
Yeah. Sorry, Aaron.
exactly.
And since our last podcast, even I've started working out a little bit.
Oh,
I
awesome.
got that bike fixed. I've been biking to work.
I saw
It's not-
that.
it's
Yeah,
not very
And you
far.
look fresh with the haircut.
Yeah,
you're looking good, man.
You
You look.
look-
Yeah.
I have never seen you look so clean cut.
I know me either.
It's only,
It's
only
really
guys
weird.
who have said that to me so far.
You'll get the
Don't
women
worry,
saying it. Don't you worry.
Law of attraction. Keep thinking women will tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually you're gonna have a woman going like, "It's so nice to see you so clean cut."
Yeah,
that's
there
what
you
you
go.
need. The sound you need to hear, right there.
You ever hear guys though be like when we talk about I'm gonna go back to the girl thing now. Like, do you ever hear guys that will be like, I want a girl that like works out and like cooks dinner and bakes really well and all these
And
things
they're a
they
piece
want,
of shit.
but they're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
how
like-
the fuck are you gonna get that?
What do you think they want? This is
Yeah.
what do you think they want a guy? Who
Well, I'm
does-
gonna order a pizza and fucking have a nap. Is what I'm.
Yeah, it's like what is that? What are you doing to make them attracted to you?
I ordered the
Like, what do
pizza
you
for
have
you.
to offer? Yeah, exactly, right?
No, I agree. It's one of those things that is just super important. I think self help helps everybody around you, and I see
That's
that
right.
in a lot of the things that you do.
Awesome.
And keep being you because you're fucking awesome at it.
You're a good man. Thank you.
All right, so Aaron, all this positivity has been so wonderful.
We're on
What
too much
positive thing are you
We're
going
on
to
too
give
much
us?
of a high. We need to go down.
Bring
We
us
need to
down,
drop
Aaron.
please.
Well, nothing too depressing this week. I'll save it for next week. No. Well, I thought we got into a lot of interesting stuff last time we did the podcast about Bitcoin and the darknet, and I thought I would expand on that.
Ooh,
a little
Bitcoin
bit
we need
more.
to expand.
Yeah, Bitcoin. I didn't know really about Bitcoin until you told me about it. So I think it's probably
me either.
very imperative that these people understand
Yeah.
what the impact of Bitcoin can be and what Bitcoin actually is.
Okay, well, Bitcoin has been around for, I estimate, like 2007, 2009. It's a cryptocurrency, which means
Cryptocurrency.
it's not a
not
physical
tracked.
currency. Yeah, we'll get into
Oh,
that.
okay.
We'll get into that.
All right.
It's not physical. I mean, there are physical bitcoins, but basically, the gist of it is a currency that is the value is based on how many people are using it.
Okay.
So when
That's like money too, right?
yeah,
Almost.
it's
Oh,
supposed
well,
to be.
it
like
is
money.
supposed to be.
Right now,
It's
we're
like-
dealing with fiat currencies.
Right.
I
which is a
think
little
the
bit
government
different.
at one point was almost calling this like not real money, but it is money because it's being used as currency in a different form, right?
The guy who invented it, he remains anonymous to this day. No one knows who he is. There's speculation about it, and people believe he did that because he wasn't sure if it was legal at the time when he created it. There was some controversy
Yeah, I can
about
see
that.
that. Yeah. You're inventing a currency.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's.
People, there's some. The only thing people know about it is he goes by Satoshi Nakamoto. And that is the supposed inventor. There's been a bunch of people who have come out and been like, I am this guy, but most of them have been like proven wrong so far. To explain it is there's Bitcoin, which is the currency, not the physical, but like you'll hold it in a wallet, which can be stored online or it can be stored in paper. But that is access to this coin, this currency.
So do you need an account to have this currency of some sort, or like where do you store? Like where is this, like an online wallet? Where would you put it?
There's several different online accounts where they give you information and like you log in, and then you have your keys, as they're called. They're stored in this wallet, and then that's the Bitcoin in there, and then you can send it to people through there using like QR codes. There's lots of places that are starting to accept it now. Now, to explain it a little bit more is how people get Bitcoin, how it started. It started out years ago, and like the first Bitcoin transaction was like 20,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas. And
I remember hearing that about the 20,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas. That's crazy to think, considering how much a Bitcoin is worth.
Why did they make it?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Bitcoin right now.
It was 2 Domino's pizza, wasn't it? I think almost exactly. Like, that's what I heard it was.
I'm not sure if it was Domino's. It might have been a local. Basically, the guy convinced the guy to accept Bitcoin. And this is how it works. It's all peer-to-peer. So that was the first, and now we're looking at the amount. If we go in Canadian fucking bullshit dollars.
Our garbage that we call money.
Yeah, it's around $1,250 right now to get 1 full Bitcoin.
Somebody spent 2,000 Bitcoins on 2 pizzas. 1 Bitcoin right now is worth how much? Roughly
$1,250.
$1,250 Canadian.
What?
Yeah.
So imagine how much those 2 pizzas cost him today.
How come the
I'm not
value?
doing
How did it go so?
Well, just like currency, the value goes up and down.
Inflation.
It's volatile. The more people
using it, I guess, the more.
Yeah, I have to explain mining, which is where the original Bitcoins come from. To obtain one way to obtain Bitcoins is you mine them, which you use powerful computers to do basically math. They're doing a bunch of large math sequences, and that proves that once you can prove that you've done that, it goes into the blockchain. The blockchain is a ledger, a transaction of all the Bitcoins, which exists to this day. It has where every Bitcoin is gone and sold, and that is basically how Bitcoin runs on this blockchain.
Which means that there's a cap out, right? Like it's like what technically American banks and stuff do. We make this much money. This is how much money we have. That's what makes our money worth money. That there is a cap out.
There is a set amount of Bitcoin. Yes, I don't know the exact number, but that is how much Bitcoin there is. That's how much Bitcoin there ever will be, because that's
the monetary system's almost kind of like that, but not really.
Not anymore.
No, it's
Not
different
anymore.
now because America just says we have more money now.
Yeah, because you get loans and then there's interest.
But that's
on
what
loans
brought the
and
banks
loans.
down.
What happened is
they just kept giving money they didn't have
enough. Yeah.
the 70s, we went off the Federal Reserve standard, which means our money is not tied to gold anymore, which means like there's a limited supply of gold.
Right.
But now that our money's not worth actual gold, like you used to be able to trade in your money for gold.
Money, the paper
worth
wasn't worth anything at one point. It was just, this says I have this much gold. That's what this paper was originally.
Exactly. But now, since the 70s, Nixon left the gold standard, which means our money is not tied to gold anymore. It is its own thing. So they're printing all this money, which is lowering the value of our money. You can't do that with gold. You can't just make more gold. You can't do that with Bitcoin. You can't just make more Bitcoin.
Why can't you make more Bitcoin?
Well, I mean, technically,
there's a set number of Bitcoin.
Is there any way around that?
Okay.
No.
Like, I mean, even the creator couldn't just be like, okay, we have more? Or has he just encrypted it in the fact that this is where it is?
It's all open
He
source.
would make more money if he...
He's not making any money.
No, I think the Bitcoin would lose money if this was possible.
Yeah,
it would
definitely.
lose its value.
Okay, yeah.
It would
It
lose
would
its
keep
value
dropping.
because it would no longer be a good currency. It would be the exact same as a fiat currency.
Right.
So, how Bitcoins are... Yeah, your computers will be doing all these transactions, and then you've done a certain amount, you will be rewarded with a Bitcoin. But it used to be a really high amount of Bitcoin that you would get. Back in the day, people were doing this just like off random computers and laptops. Then they found out you could use video cards, and it would be substantially faster. So people started hooking up 8 video cards together and making what they call mining rigs. And at this point, you're basically converting your power how much power you're putting in to the video cards, because it takes a bunch of power to power these things, to do the math, and then you get that money back through Bitcoin.
Okay.
So if you were paying really low amounts in power, or if you had free power, you could basically run one of these things all day, help out the blockchain.
And then,
Yeah, you're basically, once you're mining, you're helping the blockchain exist.
yeah.
You're helping out with all these other transactions. So enough people mining is why Bitcoin is a valid method, is why it's worth something. So you get rewarded with these Bitcoin.
So my question is, like, because I think the government for a long time regarded this as not real currency,
Yes.
from what I understand.
Don't they still?
But how does the not real currency any different than their not real currency? Because as soon as gold's no longer in play for their money doesn't mean anything other than what they say it is.
Exactly. There's no real difference. The only reason cash is worth anything is because people think it's worth something.
Right.
In reality, cash is worth less than cow shit, because if you burn cow shit, it's going to last longer than a pile of paper.
It's got a point.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's
You
super
can actually
solid.
do some
So
stuff with
Bitcoin is
cash.
worth something because
Fertilize your garden.
enough people have said that, hey, this is a real thing. I'm going to accept this. This has value.
Now, this is going to kind of bring it around on your on your topic just in general. This Bitcoin and the way that it was being spent, I know the government didn't like that this was happening, that it was being spent and used for products outside of country, in country, whatever the case may be. And there was, we mentioned it on the last podcast, but Silk Road was an actual website that allowed purchasing of items. We're not going to get into details necessarily about illegal items or not. It just they could buy.
We will.
Yeah, we will. But it's about people taking these bitcoins, purchasing items. Government didn't like that so much. So is that part of the reason why the investigation launched into it? Was it that, or was it because of the illegal dealings that could have been happening on it? I feel that it was more like the government, which always tends to come down to is money.
Yeah.
I think more so than anything.
It's a little bit of both. Like, I mean, sure, illegal transactions happen with Bitcoin, but stats will show you the majority of illegal transactions actually happen with cash.
What I heard about Bitcoin, like when I first heard about it, was like that people like that there was a lot of like guns and stuff being like illegal.
Yeah, that was the
Well,
thing you always hear.
That's
Yeah.
not Bitcoin. That's the darknet. That's Silk Road.
Yeah,
That's
but it's
something else.
purchased through
But-
Bitcoin.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
They're
well,
using
with
Bitcoin too.
Bitcoin or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's the
Yeah.
currency they're using to
Yeah.
buy said illegal items.
That's-
We're not
Yes.
saying the Bitcoin's illegal. We're
Yeah.
saying the usage
Like
of
I didn't
what
know you
it's
could use a
being-
Bitcoin to buy a piece of bread.
Okay,
Is what I'm saying.
that's
Like, I
one
didn't-
side of it. The news and the media, they like to play up that side, be like, oh, it's evil because they get paid in money. They want their money to be worth more. If their money goes down, they're not worth anything. Okay, the good side of Bitcoin is it's fast, incredibly fast. I can send, if I had Bitcoin, I could send Bitcoin from me to you using your phone, using anything, for pennies. Like it cost. If I were to transfer money to you through a bank, they would take 15%.
Right.
Usually. So you could do this, and you could transfer it in a matter of minutes. What happens is it goes up to the blockchain. The blockchain acknowledges that two people are transferring Bitcoin, and then you will get the Bitcoin in your wallet.
So this is the math. Basically, what I'm getting with these miners were doing, they basically became the servers for this currency.
Exactly. By mining, you were helping out the blockchain, which means, yes, you were basically the servers for the currency.
Okay.
Now, the good side is this makes it incredibly easy if you want to send someone money in, let's say, Africa. If you wanted to send them $1,000 through the bank, they would end up getting maybe $700,
Right.
something like that. If I send you $1,000 in Bitcoin, you're gonna get roughly, depends who I send it through, but like 909, like
9.9.
yeah, you're gonna get most of it.
Yeah.
And it's people don't like it because it's no longer in the hands of banks.
When you
Well,
say
that's what-
people, who are we talking about?
The news, media,
Okay.
people who haven't looked into
People
it.
that have money.
Yeah.
Right.
People that have money, yeah.
'Cause you're,
I mean, there is now a Bitcoin stock. Like it is on the stock market, which
Really?
that's I
When
don't
did
know,
that hit?
what?
a while ago. I'm not sure how that works.
How would that
Yeah,
work?
that's
Like, because if you're not making any more
as soon as
Bitcoin,
it hits
that's-
stock,
no,
now
that's
you're using
people-
real money to... Well,
Yeah.
not real money. I'm not saying one's more real than the other, but using American currency. We'll just use American as example. American currency to fund said not so American currency.
No, they're betting basically whether Bitcoin is going to go up or down, and then they will be making money based on that.
Yeah, like
So it's
that's
just a
still-
bet then
yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. That's what most of stock market trading is.
Well, yeah, it's always bets. You're always betting on.
But like the way I think of it is like, what if there's a set number of Bitcoin, right? And if I'm buying a share of stock that I think the value of a Bitcoin is going to go up or down, like how could it really like how is it?
How does it affect your margin that you
How does
invested
it affect my margin exactly? Like is it?
it going up and raise your margin really that much? Because it's not like a stock, like say Nintendo stock.
Well, see,
Like how do I get money off it?
I don't know much about the stock aspect of it. I know more about the actual Bitcoin, how that works.
Okay,
Yeah, so yeah.
it's a very weird question. I think we need to look.
It's
into
weird to
Yeah.
think too because like you don't know. Like
Stocks are just sketchy on their own.
I read a book actually.
I've always thought about doing stocks.
I was like, I'm gonna be rich and I'm just gonna buy a stock.
Yeah,
stock
I'm going to
on-
be the fucking next whatever the fuck Leonardo was in that
What
fucking
was it
movie.
called? It was like how to be rich on Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall
Yeah,
Street.
It was like
there
talking
is.
about how like like half this book was like talking about how the how basically stockbrokers were just crooks. Like,
Well,
it was
yeah.
like half of it was like this stocks are kind of just a bunch of bullshit.
Banks and everything. They're
and this
just
is why
ripping
the-
people off, selling them false mortgages.
Oh,
and
yeah,
underselling them on shit. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Totally
toss your
weird
money back and forth.
transactions,
It's
and
the
the
same
brokers
money,
are making
yeah.
the money off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's silly. So, and that's all it talked about.
So it didn't help you at all, really. It just
And then the
you're
end
like,
of
oh,
the
it's
book
corrupt.
was
okay.
like, he was like, gold's always going to be good. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
That was it.
Just
It
go
was like,
gold.
It's always good
invest
to
in gold if you got the money.
diversify.
If you got $2,200 to buy one share.
The reason gold is good, people love gold, is because it's extremely useful and there's a set amount of it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
unless we go mine it from.
there's a chance
Yes.
we can get more, but it's not
Yeah.
as practical as you would want to think, right?
It's not like a diamond, whereas like a diamond's just like a
Diamonds aren't worth anything.
nothing. It's
Yeah,
minerals
it's
or whatever.
marketing that makes
Yeah.
diamonds worth something.
So I think we kind of got a grasp on what the Bitcoin is. So how do you want to tie this into the rest of your topic?
Well, there's the dark side of Bitcoin as well, which people believe it's completely anonymous, which is why it's used on things like darknet markets, which I'll get into shortly. It's not. Everything is on that blockchain. It's pseudo-anonymous, which means there is evidence of two people transaction, a transaction between two people, but if you set it up right and you obtain your Bitcoin right, there shouldn't be much tying you to that identity. It's not completely anonymous unless you do it in a very safe way.
Okay, so how? Like, I'm sure you're going to touch base a little bit on this, and we kind of got the story a little bit. How did it get tracked to the
To
owner?
Ross.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now here comes the Silk Road, which was not the first marketplace. There have always been drug marketplaces that have existed online. This was the first one that tied the darknet, which I explained before, and Bitcoin. The darknet is the hidden underpinnings of the internet. That's where there's a bunch of basically databases, things that aren't accessed by Google. That is called the darknet or the deep web.
Usually through subreddits, right? You can access it. Like that's what I've always kind of heard. I never tried accessing it, but I've heard like you don't necessarily just like Google this shit and get into it, right? Like
Yeah,
What were we talking about
you'll
last
get
week? We were
scammed.
talking about it was just like a random. Yeah.
yeah, it's weird.
Okay,
It's really
so-
strange.
You use a correction on last episode. I said Tor was invented by the Navy SEALs. No,
Yeah.
it was invented by the Navy. The
Oh,
Navy
okay, so
invented
specific
it.
Navy.
Yeah.
All right, there is a difference. There is definitely a
Sorry, a
difference.
little bit wrong.
You don't want those seals pissed at you. I'm just saying.
Now the Tor is completely open source, so which means you can look at the code, you can make alterations to it. So basically, you download Tor, you find these websites, which they're the great thing about Silk Road is it was not only was it a place where you can buy drugs, you can take that however you want it, but there was an incredible community there. The whole point of Silk Road was not necessarily to buy and sell drugs. It was to facilitate more libertarian laws and stop the control over the government.
And yeah, that being its initial placing, like where it started from, seemed like a very virtued thing to do, because especially at the point that was happening, that was during, I think that started out somewhere within the Clinton, or no, it was past the Clinton. 2006, so we would have the Bush.
Yeah.
Around Bush, which at that point had a lot of money. It was there was a lot of money going towards oil at that time, and things were not.
We're also in Afghanistan.
A lot of money was
fields.
The American dollar and the Canadian dollar was fucking shit, and the part of the reason why is that they just kept we just need another 80 billion in this, and they just fucking did it. And that the money came from nowhere. They just fucking said, this is happening and this is what we have. So now America's so far in debt, so is Canada, so is every other country for the most part. There's only a few that are on a higher surplus.
Isn't it a weird thing to think that every country will never get out of debt? It'll be
it's
because
strange.
interest has been tacked onto things.
See,
that
you can't do that with Bitcoin. There is no debt in Bitcoin.
And I think that's part of the reason why that money, that's why it's worth what it's worth.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't hit.
That's a better way to go about it.
It fluctuates a lot. I remember it being $100 a couple years ago.
I don't know why. I just don't get why it fluctuates so much.
Yeah, the fluctuation seems way higher than anything else.
If it's a set amount of them,
it fluctuates based on how many people
demand,
are mining. Yeah, demand. Okay. Now we've gotten into the point where most of the people who are actually mining these Bitcoin are massive factories in China, which they have hundreds of these Bitcoin rigs all going at once. So I think.
So we have literally built a business off of just the mining aspect of it.
Yeah, to the point where it's not even decentralized anymore. Because it used to be everyone had it. Now, this is kind of the downfall of Bitcoin where it's coming. There's people who will argue against this, but the way I see it is now that China has 51% of the market share, it's no longer decentralized.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, I get that. Okay.
So Bitcoin is used. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin at once. You can send someone any amount of Bitcoin.
What do you mean? So if I mean a quarter of a Bitcoin, you mean?
I can send you $10 in Bitcoin if I wanted.
Which is not even a full Bitcoin. That's like a percentage of a Bitcoin.
They would split it
up. Whatever percent of a Bitcoin.
So what? Oh,
so
okay. Now I understand why it would fluctuate.
Try and think of a Bitcoin like a loonie. It's worth 99.
I understand. Yeah. Okay, I understand why it would fluctuate. I get it now.
I have 0.006 something, which adds up to $6
right
now.
Okay, so when we say there's a set amount of them, but the currency, the value of them will change based on how they're distributed, right?
Yes.
Kind of. So it's but isn't it almost we can't really say there's a cap to it if it's you can give someone a 0.0006% of one Bitcoin. Wouldn't that be when shares in the one Bitcoin? Couldn't you make dividends off of this one Bitcoin?
Oh, you mean
essentially? Yeah.
So couldn't the value
I see where you're coming from.
I get
where's the cap now?
But where's the cap now? Because you can fraction a Bitcoin forever, right?
Definitely.
So the more people are invested into these Bitcoins, the more people use them, or accept them as currency or whatever it is, for sure you can break it down to almost an infinite.
I think the most they break it down is 10 times, and that is.
So there is a set.
That's called a Satoshi, which is the lowest form you can break down
a Satoshi.
Yeah.
Okay.
So which is a penny, sort of a penny sort of deal.
The guy
it's a very low amount.
No, I'm not saying it worth a penny, but the same.
So there
concept
is a
of a penny.
So the lowest amount, there is a cap, whereas this is the lowest amount. You can only send a tenth of a Bitcoin or a dime.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, a penny.
So there is a set amount.
Domination.
Sorry, I should have been more clear about that.
Okay, that makes a little more sense.
There is a point. There is a point when you're mining where it's going to become too expensive because of the electricity.
Right.
There's also a point where I don't remember how many years, but they cut the amount you're actually going to get from mining these Bitcoin, which is to basically adjust for inflation, which would drive up the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So
basically, you're not going to make as much doing the mining itself, and it becomes not worth it.
The people who started mining early back in the day, they have tons of money.
Do you think this happened back when currency first really started like that? I mean, the major side of currency, when Nixon niched the gold and this became... Do you think it was sort of the same thing? Do you think they had the same problems? Yeah, that we're having with Bitcoin having these exact same problems. Is it the same? Do you think it's the same?
Or what's the advantage?
Yeah.
What's the advantage of Bitcoin? Why would I want to use Bitcoin?
Yeah, convince me to change my money to Bitcoin.
The things we've gone over. It's there's a certain amount of Bitcoin. No one's ever going to print off more Bitcoin or anything like that. you can send it between two people pretty much instantly. It's in your hands. You don't have to go to a bank and be like, hey, I need to send you $20.
Okay, you can just do that yourself.
You can do it on your phone.
But I can do that with
no
my
interest
bank
on
there,
it.
too.
Sorry?
I can transfer on my bank on my phone without a cost.
Yeah,
It's not costing me money anyway, as far as I know.
You're
I get a
the
like a
money's
monthly
not
fee
in
that I
your
do, but
hands,
that's
though.
going to happen.
The money's
anyway.
in the bank.
It is definitely in the bank.
There's still a middleman, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
There's people. Some things
And
have
there's
gone
interest.
wrong. There was a website called MT Gox, which started as a Magic the Gathering trading card website.
Doesn't everything start that way?
God, I love
Usually.
Magic.
Magic is amazing.
And then they got into Bitcoin, and they're like, all right, well, we're gonna be a Bitcoin provider, and we're gonna buy and sell Bitcoin. And they had what are called web wallets, which I'm super against, which is a website that has a Bitcoin wallet for you. All your money's in there.
So it's
So it
like
becomes a bank.
It's a bank.
It's a bank.
Yes.
It's a bank without a teller.
Eventually, they had a bunch of money. They were so busy. They had too many people using it. They didn't know what to do, so they just fucked off with all these people's Bitcoin.
Seriously, they just fucked off with everything?
Yes,
That's like
yes.
a robbery.
Yeah.
Where did the money go? Nowhere. Just
What? No one knows.
sat on a secure.
Yeah, because they if they can track every transaction that happens with every Bitcoin, they should be able technically to track all these Bitcoin transactions at least somewhere that this
You
has
can
happened,
look at it,
right?
which some of these darknet markets like the Silk Road, some of them this is a different one. This is one that went down a while ago. The Bitcoin in that account is still there. You can see it there.
Okay.
So someone could come back, like perhaps he got out of jail. Someone
And
could come
get
back
it.
and cash out all that money, but people would know immediately.
This
Wait,
is
'cause
gonna
the
be.
tracking.
Sorry, I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
one more dumb question about this Bitcoin thing. Can I convert? Like, can I convert my currency? Like, can I convert Bitcoin to?
Yeah.
And
Any
how do I
currency.
go about doing that?
There,
Sell your Bitcoin.
there,
On like,
well, there are Bitcoin ATMs. We have one. We used to have 3. There's some in the city where you
Really?
you give them cash or debit or whatever, and they'll print off a little receipt. You scan that. That's your Bitcoin. There's another place called Local Bitcoins, which they charge a bit more. They're like 10%.
Somewhere like a bank sort of deal.
Yeah, but people like it because you can buy Bitcoin in cash. You can arrange to
Right.
meet up with people, give them $20, he'll give you your amount in Bitcoin. There's other ways where you can just deposit
super
it
cool,
straight in their
actually.
account.
So how does the opposite thing happen? How do I take that Bitcoin and turn it to cash?
Same way, you can sell it.
Okay.
You can sell it to, let's say, one of your friends. You could become a distributor on one of
it's a
these sites.
currency, I guess would be.
Yeah,
I
you
get
can
it.
sell
Yeah,
it basically any way. There's a lot of places in the city now that
I didn't
start
know there was
taking
like
Bitcoin.
places though that.
I knew there was a
Really?
few places
There's-
that take Bitcoin.
What?
Yeah. There's a couple restaurants that
There's
do
like
it.
a mattress place that started taking
No
Bitcoin. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, there's a
do you
lot
think
of
this is the
places.
future?
Kern Hill Furnitures.
Like,
No.
do you think we'll move
You'll
to something
find
like
us.
this?
I don't necessarily think Bitcoin is the future. Like, hey, there are hundreds of other cryptocurrencies. There's
Yeah, I was going to say, what
Dogecoin.
stops another coin coming into play that's going to be just as popular
Nothing.
when fucking Bitcoin is nobody likes it anymore? You know, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if that does happen, like that happens all the time, where loss of interest destroys a market.
Well, that's the thing. Nothing.
Yeah.
You could create a coin. Bitcoin, everything about it is open source. So you can download the... You could get the files for it and create your own type of Bitcoin. And people have done this. Dogecoin. Some guy made Dogecoin, or some people made Dogecoin. It was a joke. Remember the Doge meme? Just that dog?
No.
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 Yes. Oh.
No, you're on
Yeah,
your own
pull
on
it
this
up
one,
now.
buddy.
Seriously, you don't
never
know
even heard the Doge.
Oh.
I guess
Wow,
like
I
it
feel
goes.
so,
I
like,
guess,
out of the loop
I know,
right now.
Doge? What? I thought it was like some kind of Taekwondo.
I thought it was an STD.
Well,
it was an STD.
this
STI.
dog?
STI.
You've never seen this?
I've seen that dog, but I've never seen that
that's
fucking...
a Doge. That is called the Doge.
Oh, I have seen that.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
Okay, I'm wrong.
These
If
people
everyone
created
else saw this.
this Bitcoin. Okay, there's a bunch of cryptocurrencies. There's Litecoin, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Darkcoin, Ethereum, Monero. Like, it goes on for.
So I guess like really that holds the value in any kind of currency is the reputability behind it, right? Like
Yeah.
so it's like a lot of people like if more people are doing Bitcoin and more people believe in the Bitcoin system, like
then Bitcoin will come
then-
out on top.
That's right.
The Dogecoin is gaining popularity. I root for it because it's just so fucking weird. But
It's called Doge.
They actually have a NASCAR sponsorship. They,
What? Doge has NASCAR sponsors.
There is a NASCAR.
How do you sponsor money? It's not like American currency sponsored by Nestle.
Don't question it. Just go with it.
That takes away from the credibility.
I don't care. I just care that there's a NASCAR with the fucking Doge face on it.
Oh my god.
That's all that matters.
You lost me on Doge, man. I don't think I'm investing in that.
STIs, Taekwondo gym.
We're done.
It's a currency.
I don't know. That's a little weird. Once you got into sponsorship of things, it's no longer a currency; it's a product.
Well, yeah, that's a completely different coin from Bitcoin. They're free to do whatever the hell they want with it.
That's really interesting, though. I like the whole. Yeah, that's interesting.
My,
I would like that more. Like I would maybe consider doing that.
Well,
if
fuck stocks, man. Fucking invest all your money in one of these random.
Well, that's what we do, right? That's our reputability.
Yeah, they're
going
called
up, right?
It's happened so many times. The one that just happened is Monero. People have been talking about it for a while. It wasn't very big. Wasn't worth anything. People started pushing it hardcore. They're like, Monero's the shit. It's going to take over Bitcoin. It's going to be what everyone uses on these darknet markets. And then the biggest darknet market just was like, all right, we're going to start accepting Monero now. Everyone used Monero. And then the price went way up.
Yeah.
so
And
everybody
these guys
had
sold
already
off all their money and made a fuck ton of money.
Wow.
Smart.
That is smart.
Yeah,
It's
it's
happening-
catching the market before it
It's
happens.
happening
That's
again.
fucking the
Finding
Wolf of
the
Wall
bubble.
Street right
Finding
there.
the bubble.
It's happening
Where
again.
do we
Short.
start fucking throwing short people? Because I want to
Big
get this
short.
happening.
Where's the midgets?
That's not what shorting
Are
is.
we allowed to say midgets? Is that
Not actually.
I don't know what's
shorting.
politically
Small
correct.
people,
or
I'm
small
not
people.
sure.
That's why I said short people. I wanted to say it, but
Sorry,
I was
I
like,
jumped
I
right
don't
to
know.
midgets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
just-
that's
It's
bad.
happening again with this coin called Ethereum or Ethereum, something like that.
I want to talk about midgets for one more second. Did you know that you can buy midgets
In
Vegas?
Bitcoin, yeah, in Bitcoin, right?
In Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure. You can buy midgets. Like you can rent a midget for an hour and throw
Like-
them
like-
around.
like hooker
Like this
sort
is
of
a thing
deal?
in Vegas. Like you can actually.
Oh, so not sexual.
No. Like they won't sexual. No, they're just there to throw around and like you can set up bowling pins or something.
I'm asking my
like,
wife to go to Vegas.
Like you
this
can
year.
basically throw a midget.
Just
You
chill
can
with
rent
a
a midget for an
all
hour.
day.
I'm just saying that's a thing.
Rent
Let's
a midget.
continue. I feel like everyone just needs to know that.
I'm gonna start
Go ahead.
selling midgets on the dark.
Can I bring this back to midgets throwing? Is that-
we
Sorry.
talk about midgets.
Yeah, this is my new topic.
Are you allowed to say midget?
Yeah,
Oh, we're
sorry
gonna
sorry
say
for
midgets.
offending
Yeah,
anybody.
we're not offending anyone.
We just don't know the correct, proper.
Politically
Yeah, I've heard like 4 different things.
Small.
Little person.
Small people, little person. Thank you.
That's exactly what it is.
Erase the last 5 minutes and little person over top of everything. You can do it all robotically too, like little person.
Just really bad dubbing.
Oh, God. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, back on with.
Yeah, so Bitcoin, I don't necessarily believe Bitcoin is going to be the future. It may play a part in it, but what I think is the best part about Bitcoin is the technology it's based on, which is the blockchain. Now, there's tons of people right now who are trying to apply the blockchain to other things, such as voting. If you have a ledger that is publicly available to everyone that no one can change, that like there. You could do incredible things with that.
Give an example.
Yeah. Can you explain the voting aspect of this? Like,
Well, there's a lot of people who don't like electronic voting, and they say it's rigged in a certain way. This would be a way to ensure that...
unrig it, like you can see where everything happened.
Yeah,
Oh,
you,
right,
you,
okay.
you can
Yeah.
not
makes
necessarily
sense,
see
actually.
who everyone's voting, but you know that there's a way that this cannot be changed. It is
Right.
This is a-
cryptographically secure.
Right?
This is
Oh, yeah,
like not
okay.
necessarily
Oh,
being
that's-
physical,
yeah.
but this is a physical. This voted here.
Yeah, that's a
It
It
really,
can't just be
yeah.
added in.
That's the ledger of... The blockchain is the backbone behind Bitcoin. That's
I think that would be a good future to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Like no
That's
more
what-
of this like questions of like, oh, we have to recount for mods.
Authenticity
And,
and
like,
Yeah.
none of this bullshit anymore. Just this is you can fucking recount it, but it's going to be the exact fucking same
see
number.
where it
No
came
difference.
from and-
You know, like
Yeah.
Because no matter what, like it's cryptographically secure. You cannot
Right.
beat that. You can't just beat someone up. Like it's there.
that's crazy. Yeah, and I think this is like you've always been trying as long as I've known you. You've tried to sell me on Bitcoin. You always talk to me
Not
about it.
necessarily going to get you into
But
it.
you're
I just want
trying
you
to like
thinking
understand
about
it, yeah, and thinking
Yeah.
about it. And I think you have done more than that. In the time I've known you, like I literally never knew what it was until I met you, now I have a genuine interest in it, and
Me too, man. That was
like I don't know. Maybe one day I will own like some Bitcoin myself. I don't know if it's going to happen because I've always thought buying gold or silver, keeping that stash around is a thing to do, which is not a bad thing to have because it's always worth something.
Diversify, yeah.
But maybe Bitcoin can be put in on this aspect. That maybe that could be a thing. Like okay, well I'm going to invest this into silver, this into gold, and a little bit into Bitcoin too.
Diversify your portfolio.
People do that. There's a thing called a paper wallet where you store all your Bitcoin information literally on a piece of paper, and then you hide that piece of paper, and then you put it somewhere that you're not going to access until shit happens and you need it.
Shit gets erased on paper. So I'm saying I've got receipts in my pocket that I can't fucking read. For less
well, don't just keep it in your pocket.
Well, what the fuck else are you supposed to do with it?
Don't just walk around with $100,000 in your pocket.
Well, I don't know what you do with your money, but
I keep it all in my pocket. That's all in cash.
All right, so I think I got a better understanding. Thanks, Aaron.
Sorry, Aaron. I can honestly talk to you. Yeah, I know.
We can keep going about
this.
I
was going to go on about the dark net.
I know you were. I know.
We'll save it. We'll save it.
Dark net. We're going to get into. I think that should happen. Honestly, I think the
you
dark
bring
net
up
in
such
general.
huge topics that we're
it's
just
so hard to walk away from some of these things. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a podcast called Kind of Funny Games. Outside of what's happened over the past week, anyway. Have you heard of this?
Not before, no.
How about yourself?
No.
I've been into Kind of Funny Games since the day that Greg and Colin left IGN. If you don't know who these people are, we got Greg. I can't remember his last name, but Colin Moriarty. He's the one that's recently Moriarty. He's in the news very recently over tweeting a joke. We'll get into all this in just a second. First of all, I'm just going to explain Kind of Funny a little bit. It's people from IGN. I'm sure you've heard of IGN, which is like pretty much the world's renowned, at the time, gaming website that gives you all your game information, all your game reviews, anything that happens in there. It's fucking there. It comes from there.
Too.
Yeah. And no, they don't create games. They're just all reviews.
iPhone games or Apple games, don't they?
I don't think they do. They might. They have. I know they have.
They probably publish them.
They might publish something. Yeah, there's a possibility of publishing. I'm not sure which ones. But anyway, for the big people, Greg, who was kind of like the face of the company, he was the person that was always on the TV. Like anytime he was on YouTube, it was almost always Greg on there. And then there was Colin, who was senior editor and one of the highest marquees that you can have in IGN. And then three other people that are fairly up there. Nick, I can't remember his last name right now, and then Tim Geddes is the other guy. Big names, all with IGN. All decided to leave one day and start their own company. They called it Kind of Funny Games.
Okay, I just didn't know that.
Yes, so that's all these people left IGN were like, okay, I'm going to do Kind of Funny Games. And I remember when this happened, being like, oh shit, I'm going to fucking check this out. Because these are the people I actually enjoyed listening to. I thought that they had great outlooks. Especially, and this is the point, Colin's outlook on the way that he does things. Colin was very liberal in the way that he did things. He was very, very, like, to the point. He was non-discriminative towards things. Like, he never looked at things in a very... broad or he had a broad spectrum as a very narrow.
He wasn't
one.
biased.
Yeah, he wasn't biased. He always listened.
Yeah.
And where I not that I think Greg or any of the other people didn't have this, but they weren't the same way. And if they were, they didn't express it. Where Colin was very outspoken. So very recently in the news, what had happened? It was Women's Day, and there was a hashtag going around. What would you do without a woman for a day? I can't remember what the exact hashtag was, but it was like hashtag no woman for a day. Yeah, if you can look that up.
That's what it was.
I think that's what
no woman for a day, and he put hashtag
or quiet or something.
Yeah, what he said was, finally some peace and quiet. Hashtag no woman for a day.
That's what it was.
That's a fucking Al Bundy joke.
Yeah.
Okay, that is
it's
just
something you would
fucking,
see on cable TV.
Yeah, it's just a joke. It's not much, but the fucking internet exploded on this, on him specifically, especially in Twitter. And I've heard some podcasts and stuff that he's spoken on since, and it was all on Twitter. And Twitter has your 128 characters, so it's very easy to get malicious on Twitter because there's not enough characters to like make it less. So anyway, this joke comes out. The industry already kind of looks a little down on Colin because he's been so outspoken, and he doesn't really, he doesn't necessarily care. You know, like he's just going to say this shit.
Yeah.
It comes out of his mouth.
He's not going with the same shit that everyone else is going
he's not
with right now.
conformed or whatever however you want to say it.
Yeah. And this one thing tore apart this company with Colin and Greg, who were arguably the main people. It was Colin.
He
was
was
Greg.
the executive.
He was,
the
there was one of the
co-founder,
4
right?
co-founders.
He was the co-founder, and
Yeah.
he was like the executive.
Yeah,
producer,
he was.
right?
It was.
Like, or something?
There was 4 of them. It was Tim, Nick, Colin, and Greg. Colin and Greg were the faces of the company,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, okay.
People listened to Colin and Greg. Not that it takes anything away from Tim or Nick, but Colin and Greg were the people. So one of the main people, like the people that are like listening and watching for, got torn apart because the internet blew up on this. Now, my topic isn't necessarily about this, but is brought up by this, is that today's generation, right now, we live in a generation of me, a generation of now, a generation of absolutely just exploding on things. Over-exaggerations is the word that I'm looking for. Where do you think this lies in our generation is my question. And what do you think their overall outcome that they're looking for on this? Are they trying to maliciously sabotage somebody's career with what they're doing? Or do you think that they're just overreacting because that's the only thing they know how to do and they need a voice to be heard? And I have my own opinions on it, but I'm very curious to see how you feel, because I feel like the demographic of age 18 to 38, 40 seems to be in this blow-up generation where they just hear something and they fucking go off about it. Some things are very important that they do this with. 90% of it I find isn't, though. You know, like this, for instance, being like a joke that came out. Any comedian that has talked about this joke has been like, what's the fucking deal?
Silly.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, and the same thing is happening right now to Dave Chappelle with his new shows.
Yeah.
That he put on Netflix, where the people are exploding over small little things that are happening on there. Not here to debate if they're right or they're wrong in what they're saying. Here to talk about people exploding over it.
Yeah. Well, the way I look at it kind of is like, do you think of like, when I think of a bully when I went to school, like I was bullied once in a while, but like I think of it as like the bully my mom would always tell me was like, you know, he's worse off than you, right? He's got probably more problems in his life, and he's got, you know, but why is he bullying you, right? Like why would a bully you, for example? Like
Absolutely.
Why would you think?
Well, you would think it to make them feel better.
They
That's
would feel
insecure.
better about themselves. They're insecure about something, right?
Usually,
and like,
yeah.
even when the bully beats up the kid, like it doesn't usually end there, right? Like he's gonna bully if his parents talk to him. Like the bullies were always bullies. It wasn't like he was a bully for a week. Like he was a bully through high school until he left
kept
and he
going.
found that he didn't get the attention from everyone else anymore. Right?
That's when they become cops or something.
That's
you
when
know?
they become cops, exactly. And then they're fucking bigger dicks and bullies, right? Like, totally. Right?
Sorry to all the cops out there that aren't dicks.
Yeah, there's a lot of non-dicks cops. But
Hashtag not dick cop.
but that's what it is, right? I think it was like a lot of the time it's like they wanted the attention, they want to know whatever they're saying means something, right? So it's like when it's like a woman activist, for example, on this kind of a joke,
Yep.
right? Like I think it's just like she wants her voice to be heard, and if she was confiding in it, her voice wouldn't be heard, right? Like, but if I'm bitching about what someone else is doing, it maybe could take away, like there's some insecurity in you about your right.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Like, or how you feel about it is how I think.
So, do you think that, like, from what I'm hearing, what you're saying, you almost feel like the explosion is not necessarily to be malicious, more to better
Just
suit
have
yourself.
themselves heard. I feel like, right?
Have
Like,
yourself-
they just want to be heard, and like. It's like no one wants to hear positive things. It's like the news, right? We were talking about earlier. Like no one wants to hear.
Everybody wants to hear the next controversy.
Like no one talks about all the positive things he's probably said, right? Or the compliments he's ever said to a woman or his wife, or like no one's ever talking about that because that's not interesting, right? There's no controversy there. It's like okay, like he likes that sounds nice and that's great, but as soon as like there's some kind of like there's room maybe for controversy or room for this person's being a bully, we could say, or a sexist, or whatever you want to say.
There's not much difference between the bully versus what's happening on the net right now. The only difference is that there's no face to go off of.
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
people feel more entitled not having to show their face.
Yeah,
and they feel that
it's so easy to be hidden behind there's no consequences to what you're saying.
Almost
exactly.
at this point. Yeah,
like if you would have walked up to someone and say, you know what, I'm a little offended on what you just like. This is how I would handle a situation, right? Like if that lady came up to him and say, hey, you know what, like I'm a little offended by what you said there. And I'm sure he would be
let's talk about this.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you at all. I was waking up in the morning and I thought it was funny. Let me retract what I said and let me say it in a better way. You know what I mean? No. Like it would, like, and then the problem would be solved, right? Like it would be like, okay, like that was right. But
I agree with you completely. But what happened is he made a perfectly innocent tweet, and people jumped on
Down
the
his throat,
motherfucker,
You had
tried to get him
resign his job.
fired. Yeah, like
Here's the deal, though.
This
Like,
happens a lot.
it's been happening way more and more month to month on a personal level, like on a friendship level, or something that's that. I see your point. Like, you know, like having that like head to head, face to face is a lot more constructive, and it has a better outcome
Seems to
every
make more
time.
sense. Yeah.
Very rarely. Nobody wants to fucking fight. I've been in like 2 fights in my life, and every single one, we're both looking at each other when we're about
You
to
don't
fight.
want
And we're like, neither one of us want to fucking
no,
do
it's,
this.
it's the people standing around the circle
That
who want
makes
to
it
watch
happen.
the fight.
That's what gets the
Exactly.
fight.
They
going.
want you to fight.
If we were by ourselves, there's no chance we would have fought. And that
That's
like
a sweet analogy to put this whole thing in.
yeah,
Actually.
it really is very close to getting to that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. But right now, the internet is almost out for blood on some people. Like they just they're looking for their targets, and as soon as an opening breaks out, which happened with him, because this has been happening to him for years, where people like jump on him for things, but none of them have been too substantial. They're nothing to really get at. This was the thing. They're like, we fucking got him, and they just started jumping at him. And I think that's how he feels about it. And like after hearing, I'm telling you, if anybody wants any references to where I'm getting a lot of this information from, it's from Joe Rogan's podcast with him. That being said, I've done research
9:36 or
past the Joe. Yeah. I've done a little bit of research past the Joe Rogans because I'm like a big fan of Kind of Funny, and I know how Kind of Funny is reacting to it versus how Colin's reacting to it. And it's actually quite different on both ends. Like, Kind of Funny is like, this is a very mutual thing, and this is, we're all great friends, and everything's happening. Colin's side's like, it's not really mutual. I kind of got forced out, but they're still my friends.
When you get into a company, though, like what's like a lot of companies want to like
Image,
right? Like there's a vision to the company. It turns into a cult, right? Like I know when I was with, I don't need to say the gym that I was with, but it was one of the biggest gyms in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And like you get into it, and it's like if you don't believe how they believe, and it's a cult, right? Like if you're not buying into our sales tactics, if you're not buying into like our vision of the company and how we want to perceive our company, you're gone, right? Yeah, it's like you're okay. We don't want you part of the team. That's it. You're gone, right?
Try
like,
not chanting at the beginning of fucking Walmart when you're working there. You have to do that chant with
Exactly.
everybody.
Oh yeah, my mom
Exactly.
used to work
It's
there.
fucked up.
Oh,
Like,
God.
it's really weird when they do that.
But
type
it's
of shit.
culty.
Let's start
It
doing
is
that.
very good.
And
Let's
as
chant
soon as you
before
get,
all this.
as soon as you get one unorthodox person that wants to veer off of that path, it's like, well, the worst thing you do to them is like they can lose their job, right? Like you lose your job if you're not buying into that culture.
But
right?
here's-
even if it's the wrong culture, you don't believe
Out
it.
of all this bullshit, there's a positive coming out of it, which I think is really cool. Now, this is breaking away from the actual topic itself, but Colin took this as a sign because he's always been very video game centric, and that's what he talks about. But his passion is politics.
Politics, eh?
Yeah.
Politics. It's
He's
always has been, and he's always been talking about politics from the very
incredibly
beginning.
smart.
Oh, super smart guy.
Well spoken too.
Very well spoken. Oh yeah, this guy is a writer. Like that's what he is.
Okay, now can I say my part on
Yeah,
this?
absolutely. Yeah.
I believe both what you guys are saying. People like to jump out. Have you heard the term virtue signaling?
No, I haven't.
This is people who want to have a good, let's just say being green or eating vegan or something that they think makes people look at them better. If they're vegan or they're eating this way, I'm doing good for the humanity. Maybe virtue signaling is them not necessarily doing it for themselves, but them just wanting
for the
to
image.
For the cause?
no, to throw it in your face and for the image.
Oh,
and
okay.
Okay,
I'm
yeah, I get
doing
what you're
sure.
saying. Yeah.
I think that's
I don't
what's
think
going
like
on
that.
here.
Why would you even say that?
I
Say
think
I don't
yeah.
think like that is the important part of the message, right?
a lot of this, I think, is people are looking for a reason to get angry to show everyone else that, hey, I'm on
I'm not
this
a sexist,
side.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about women.
You
Yeah,
see that
totally. Yeah, yeah.
everywhere. And I can't stand it. How many people actually believe some of this shit? Like, who knows if that person believes that? Maybe she just wanted to stir up emotion. Maybe she just wanted to
you're right.
think that she was helping the cause of women or whatever.
That's
you're
a
right.
very solid outlook on it
you're
too. Like I'm a fan of comedy. Like I've been going to comics since I was a little kid. I've always loved it. Like I back when I was a kid, we used to pass rumors, but like I used to pass around fucking Eddie Murphy's Raw, like all the like the other kids would
That
pass
shit would
around.
not
Fucking,
You know what's
fly
so
these
funny?
days,
We just
man.
listened to that Eddie Murphy special, his
Yeah.
first special in the '90s, where he's wearing like that.
yeah,
Like,
the fucking orange.
jump
He looked
spacesuit.
like fucking Michael Jackson in the
That
fucking
dude
Thriller
talks.
video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He talks about homosexuals and gays
yeah.
for like the first 45 minutes. Like
Just straight up
and,
bash.
and it wasn't,
time.
but it's not called that. It's like he's like faggots and he's using these
He's
derogatory
very, like,
terms now
Yeah.
that
we
what
can't
you're
use,
talking
yeah.
about. That in our generation, well, not our generation, but that millennium, I guess, generation
I
we
think-
could call it.
I
I
think-
know you probably don't like that term. Or
I'm
word.
so against the censorship that's going on.
It's getting
But it's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
And that's
It
this is
is.
bringing it right back to the point of like this is happening to Chappelle right now over transgender. Sure, they're not saying faggot anymore. Now they're saying transgender is the thing. So okay, not saying anything against transgender people. You have your sufferings. I understand that. But where does the line get drawn? Comedy is not supposed to have boundaries. If it has boundaries, it's not
There's
comedy.
filters on it. It's not funny.
Yeah, that's where you lose it.
Some
And
of
now,
my favorite jokes are just terrible.
Oh,
And
very
just,
terrible.
Yeah, like
You
you listen
feel
to
like a
Joey
bad
Diaz.
person,
or you listen
yeah.
to
I've got at least
Sebastian
10
Maniscalco.
jokes that I would get locked up for.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
At least 10. And
Yeah.
those are the best ones at the bar. You know, like,
Yeah.
so, like, I'm just saying that maybe there needs to be some sort of tension lost. Like, is our society so tense right now
Yeah.
that they're just waiting for the next thing so that
Yeah.
they can just be like, fuck you, I got this. Like, not everybody's a fucking verbal vigilante at this point. You don't need to jump. I like that, actually, term verbal.
That was awesome. Yeah, whoa.
Yeah, yeah,
That
so-
sounded really smart.
better than grammar Nazi.
Yeah, it is a bit. Yeah, but like you don't need to be this vigilante jumping on everybody's fucking words. Some people say a joke because it's a joke.
Yeah.
So like you have to have that filter. At the same point, you know, sometimes you have to know your audience. That's another thing that has to be put into play. Not to take away
Sure,
from the
but
comedian.
don't go watch Dave Chappelle
and
and expect it to be
not Dave Chappelle.
not Dave Chappelle.
You're like, I'm not going
Yeah.
to see Bill Cosby. I'm going to
Don't
see.
go there knowing you're going to be offended if he says something about a
Yeah.
gay person.
Yeah, they just
It's that
deal
he,
with this.
He was a '90s.
You
guy.
went to
He
go
was
see
a-
him. You went to go see him. You're
You
on
go-
his Twitter feed.
Yeah.
You have to subscribe to said person's Twitter feed.
It's the people that are looking for reasons to.
I think it's just everyone has a voice now, and everyone wants to think that their voice needs to be heard and that they're important. But the fact of the matter is, some people just need to shut the fuck up.
Do you
Yes,
think
amen.
maybe so many people are so important in their lives that this is the way that they feel important?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
yeah, they can hear themselves.
Yeah, this
They
is the
get
first
attention
time
for
Well,
where-
they create an
They get-
echo chamber if all their friends
Yeah.
think the same way as them.
But do they feel the friends on the side? Do they feel pressure to jump in on this? Like, wait, this is a cause that this person's going on. Like, I'm not going to say Joe Rogan because he wasn't against him, but let's say somebody as big as Joe Rogan says, like, fuck you can't say that about women. Well, now he's got his whole backing, like, oh, wait, this person I look up to is saying this type of thing.
Right.
So why ain't I jumping on this fucking bandwagon? Why ain't I following
Well, that's
him?
just social influence, right? Or
Absolutely.
peer pressure or whatever you want.
And
Yeah,
that
like-
creates
peer
a
pressure.
mob
I put peer pressure
mentality.
right on
Yeah.
that, yeah.
That creates mob mentality, which is never good.
But
No.
do you differentiate what's going on right now from mob mentality?
No, not at all.
I think it's
Well,
one
it
and the
is
same.
mob
yeah,
mentality.
it's the same. It's What's the difference?
I think
People don't feel anything because there's so many people jumping on it. But like, you got to think of it from weird stretch. But let's go to PewDiePie.
Oh yeah, his.
You remember when everyone was saying PewDiePie's a Nazi because he made
He said a couple jokes. They
Yeah,
were bad
that was
taste jokes.
silly. Yeah.
They were
Okay.
bad taste jokes
My-
and weren't funny.
my
But that's
point-
still not the point.
They
My
were a joke.
completely hypothetical point is if people call him a Nazi thousands of times and he hears it for weeks and weeks and weeks, suddenly he doesn't have the feeling attached from hearing Nazi anymore. So there's nothing left from stopping him from being a Nazi.
Well,
because
yeah.
it doesn't fucking matter anymore.
Nazi
It's like
is,
to the
is
point where you
meaningless
can-
to him at this
yeah.
point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just
It goes back to like, if you tell yourself the same lie over and over
Yeah,
and over,
you're
you
gonna
tell
start
yourself
believing
that you
it.
start believing
Exactly.
it.
You can
That-
pass
it is it.
polygraphs
It's-
that way. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've truly believed in it and you've engaged in it. Yeah. So.
It's something that I see happening a lot right now in our society. It really, like, honest to God, kind of scares me a little bit that this is where we're heading, and there's nobody to stop it because it's the internet doesn't really have that trafficking. You know, it doesn't have that person go like stopping this and like go forward. You don't have some traffic director telling you this thing.
And
It just
I
happens
don't
every
think it
time.
should.
I don't think the internet necessarily should, but that's not the place to outlet this type of
Yeah.
of thing. Like I think a lot of the cause of this happening is having that. Like okay, how do I put this? I think free speech is almost being abused at this point, and not with the people saying the things that they're saying, but people saying you can't say that. So now they're trying to use free speech.
Well,
I
it's
get
like
the
you
free
just-
speech to say this, but you're not allowed to say that. Where's free speech being put in, right?
The left used to be all about free speech, but
Yep.
now they've gone so far left that they're becoming right and
saying
censoring
you can't
people.
say these things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm worried about is that eventually, because I've heard some murmurs that they're trying to, like, how do I put this? The Constitution is only constitutional when you want it to be, and that's what I find people doing this a lot lately. You know, they only bring it up when it's convenient for their
them.
cause.
Yeah.
And I think right now is what we're losing. I think that's something that's losing with especially the younger generation of people, because this is all they're seeing right now. They're seeing their peers doing this to other people, you know, and their peers right now are only like 25 to 35, you know, like the peers of the younger people. So what's the next generation of people going to be?
I mean, look how easy it is to go on Twitter and talk shit about someone,
That's the
call
thing,
them out,
like,
and
okay,
completely ruin their
yes.
lives where they lose their job.
Let's put it like 20 years ago when you didn't have the internet, and someone called you a fucking, like, okay, say if
I'm Italian. They call me a wop.
they call you a wop.
Okay.
If they called you a wop and you were seriously offended by it because maybe your grandma, like,
We end up in that circle,
some
staring at
whatever
each other,
bullshit, you end up in that fucking circle
staring at each other, not wanting to fight each other because there was a better way out of this.
That's right.
There's a better way out. Every
Yeah.
fucking time I've been in that situation.
Yeah.
There's a better fucking way out, but you have that fucking mob of people being like, "There's no better way out." You got to
But do you
fight.
think now it was better? Like, it was better without the internet, where you could just be like, okay, now you had that fight, you handled it, right? Like, and there was no, the only people that were telling that story were the people that were watching in the circle, and that was, but that was it, right? And
Absolutely.
you guys handled your business, and then that was the end of it. Do you think it was like that's why there was like hundreds maybe of generations where it was okay? You know what I mean? To say what you wanted to, and you handled your business in the circle. And then that was it.
That was
Whereas, like,
something
now
for a
there's
long
no
time.
consequences, like Aaron was saying. It's
I'm
like you
worried,
can say what
yeah.
you want to say,
and nobody has
and no
any
one-
accountability on it.
and there was no
Yeah.
accountability to it. Like, this lady's not going to come and debate him about it.
Yeah,
You know, like, that's not going to happen, right?
Like,
Or
I'm
people-
all for holding people accountable, but you got to choose your battles.
Yeah,
Here's
does
you
it
have-
really matter at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's how sensitive could you possibly?
like bringing it back to Colin.
I don't know.
Like just a small little bit bringing it back to Colin. This worked out okay for him. You know, he left a company that he was generally kind of thinking
That
was holding him back. He's starting a new thing that allows him to freely express himself the way that he feels proper.
Yes.
So this has turned out to a positive for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't turn out positive for everybody. There's been a lot of people that this has fucked their life up. Like completely
Milo.
fucked them.
Milo, yeah, Milo.
Yiannopoulos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what do you think of when you think of Milo, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's just
I can't
it's
even tell
fucking-
you what he even does. I just know all the shit that he's,
Oh,
you
man.
know.
Maya Milo's a whole different can of
Well, that
worms.
is. You're right.
That's what's disturbing about it. Like people's lives are being literally ruined from this. Not and like, am I saying like the celebrity mentality on this? No, I'm not talking about celebrities.
like,
I'm
do
just
you
like,
think-
when it comes down to today, they are a person, like you're a person, like you're a person, and their
But
lives. are
I
being
think
ruined
it
by
stems out to the people who do have the responsibility, not to, like, for example, we'll look at like Caitlyn Jenner. Okay, like let's look at an example, like an Idol, right? Like that show was like Keeping Up with the Kardashians and stuff like that.
Yep.
I think it's stupid. Like
I hate
whatever,
those shows, but
everyone-
that's not
yeah.
the point.
But it was like it had a broad audience. It was like one of the most
It was
popular
doing
reality
something
shows
right.
there was.
Yeah.
But like now you're watching a guy go through a sex change, like a guy an Olympic champion go through a sex change on this show, and then get offended by like if you called him now or if you called her
a him.
a him now, and like but now people are watching like this guy's offended by people calling her a him, right? Like, but that's all you're watching, right? Like you're watching the public eye, this idol to how many people, right? How many hundreds of thousands, millions of people watching this show, and this guy was getting offended because, you know what I mean? Like his view on things.
They're
was
going
that
to
he
start
was-
that his view is going to reflect
so
on
now,
the other people's views.
so now all the other people see like, oh, this guy's getting offended because he's. So now I'm going to be offended if, right? Like that's how you want to do, right? You're following idols, or you're going to following trends, or whatever it is.
Yeah, the mob
So,
mentality
yeah,
on a
Mob
lesser
mentality,
level.
yeah.
Well,
So
it's
like,
just like
who
that
do you
South Park
give
episode.
responsibility to? And like it's got to be people that are in a position like him, where he's got a broad audience and
yeah.
he's got things right that
maybe
I'm
I shouldn't
thinking-
necessarily be offended. I understand. Like, take you brought this up in the last. Take a moment to step back and
Yeah.
think about something before you do it.
Yeah, maybe we got to take a step back. I could be hurting.
I've always
someone.
said this.
Could be, right?
Like, you're in front of a keyboard. That shit's super fucking like
that's a
accessible to you.
weapon, man. That's,
Take 2 steps back and think for a couple seconds before you type. If you get anything out of this conversation, world, is please just think about what you say before you say it. Imagine somebody saying that shit to you. Just doesn't matter who. Just somebody saying that to you, and think about that before you fucking put it to the keyboard.
Yeah.
And if you still feel you need to put it in there, I can't stop you from that. But I just ask that you think.
Yeah.
Just take that moment.
know
And
how harmful it could be, right?
yeah, words truly can be weapons.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that more now, a little bit more so, especially in this internet generation, for sure. We're seeing words
You're
are
right.
weapons.
100%. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know like what my overall purpose of this topic was. It's just something that's been weighing on me a little
It's a
bit
good
lately.
thing to talk about, and it's like that's
It's interesting.
It's interesting, and that's what's happening, right? Like this is happening, right? We got this period. We got this age from 18 to 40 is where you kind of wanted to.
I think that's where it's heading.
said
It's
it.
where it seems to be.
But you're right. I think a lot of people will agree with you. I think a lot of people are on the same page with you, right? Like it's people want change and good things, but I think a lot of things like calling this guy out for a silly joke, right, are holding us back, I think, and moving us in the wrong direction, and not the right
Absolutely.
direction, right?
Taking a
And
step
it's-
backwards every time.
Yes,
Definitely.
and there's a lot better things we can do with our energy and our time than to put it against waiting for the next hate thing to come out and waiting for one person to slip up on one bad thing or one tasteless joke in one person's opinion and putting it on a broad spectrum and trying to wreck people. And I think it's silly, and I think you're right. I think it happens not just to him, right? It happens
Oh,
to-
this is just our newest example of it.
But I think it's a great thing to talk about because this happens all the time, right?
I'm worried about this happening too often, and I see that
And
happening
it's
a lot.
influenced our culture.
Yeah, it gives
Right.
a very negative feedback on what it doesn't make things look positive for the future for what we're dealing with, and I think that that a little bit more positivity in people will really make a big difference. Like maybe you're the person that made that comment that's going to make another 10 people make that same comment. If you stop that comment, maybe something good can happen from it.
Have a cold shower.
Have a cold shower.
Yeah.
Take a couple moments. Change a little bit in your day. We can do this.
That's right.
We can do this
That's
together,
right.
folks.
That's right.
Well, if you didn't know, this is Why the Fuck Not, where 3 friends gather around a table, bring 3 random topics for your discussion and your entertainment. I'm Ed.
I'm Dwight.
I'm Aaron.
Thanks for
and
listening.
take a cold shower.